Dr. Martin Rovers is here from St. Paul University, also Capital Choice Counseling Group, and you're a marriage and family therapist, amongst other things. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
Good to have you here. You got a series of seminars going on called Relationships Matter.
We do. We have Relationships Matter going on for the 4th year now.
Yeah.
Once a month, St. Paul University. Mm-hmm. Usually Friday night, so it's tomorrow night.
Which is right downtown here, basically.
Right down in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Relationships Matter is a 2-hour lecture given by a professional, myself or other therapists.
Are you there for every session?
I'm there for every session.
Right.
And we try to cover that place in the middle. You know, relationships are a lot of work. They kind of work easy at the beginning when we're in love, but then it's work after that.
Yeah.
And people don't teach us enough about that. We kind of think we know, or we go from what we've learned from our family of origin.
Right.
And so what happens when a relationship gets into trouble a little bit? Well, Relationships Matter is a place to go. We could read books, we could talk to our friends, or if it's really a big problem, we could see a therapist.
Yeah.
But this is that place in the middle where you get a lecture from an expert on a topic of relationships.
And then you can ask questions.
You can ask questions. They tell us stories, you know, it may be about themselves, but they change the names to protect the guilty.
We were kind of joking just before we came on about, you know, how often people talk about relationships, myself included. So this opens up that whole idea, really, if you're in that kind of setting where there's no pressure on you.
That's right.
Right? It's not one-on-one.
It's not. You can listen to the lecture. You can ask questions secretly by paper.
Oh, really?
You can do that. And lots of questions, lots of interaction, lots of stories coming forth.
Yeah, and we're talking about, by the way, it's not just, love relationships. It's work relationships. It's all kinds of different ones.
It's relationships with self. You know, it's relationships with family, especially parenting. We do a fair amount of parenting.
Right.
There's lots of issues in relationships that we need to learn more about.
Yeah, the workplace.
Yeah, the workplace is a big one, workplace stress, and especially now in the city.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Yeah.
What are the biggest problems with relationships as you see them, Doctor?
Well, I think still some classic ones on the top in terms of reasons for divorce. Finance is still at the top.
Well, you saw the census numbers.
Yeah,
it's crazy,
we saw the census number. And if you read in between the census numbers, I was kind of thinking, you know what, there's a lot of relationship issues in there.
Yeah.
You know, the divorce rate being high, single-parent moms, most of them are moms, or single-parent dads. And how do you do the parenting with that kind of piece? Or blended families. Big issue when you put all that piece together. And it always surprises me how they come to see me as a therapist when there's a lot of dirty water underneath the bridge.
Yeah.
And so how can you go earlier and say, let me get the advice here let me get some guidance so that when we blend together, we start to make it work from the beginning. And blended family will probably
a preemptive strike.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like the talk this Friday that I'm having this Friday is, tomorrow night is, Vivre la Difference, appreciating your partner's ways of loving.
Do you think that's one of the keys to successful relationships? And like, I have a hard time with this, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, but you have to sit back at some point, no matter who it is you're dealing with, and you have to realize that they have their own opinions, and they are their own person.
Yes.
And they're not going to agree with everything you say, nor think the way you do.
That's
right.
And
I have to, sometimes I stop myself, and I have to do this over and over, is think about that. And that way it makes things a little easier to deal with.
And if we know that, and if I know the difference between my wife and I, and there's differences, let me give you an example. Love languages. It's a good book. There's a book on like that. But so my love languages is acts of service. I do a lot for the family. A lot of men do this. You know? See, I bring home the paycheck. See how much I love you.
It's not necessarily out loud.
That's right.
Okay.
But it just doesn't happen to be my wife's love language. No, hers is precious time or words. And so I can say, look, I love you, here's my check, but it misses her. I have to learn her love language because that's the language she knows.
Yeah.
And no one taught me. My parents didn't teach me. Men don't teach me. No. So you got to go somewhere to learn. Yeah. And now that I'm learning that, well, you know, it helps the relationship.
I think it's a good idea.
It is an excellent idea. And it's a fun idea. We do have a lot of fun in it.
Do you?
Yeah. People are asking questions, you know.
It's $20 a person at the door.
Yep.
You'll get your money's worth. And the next one is tomorrow night between 7 and 9 at St. Paul University. Do you need to sign up in advance or anything?
No, room for everybody at the door. Registration at the door.
Yeah. You enjoy this, eh? It's good.
I love doing that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming by to tell us about it.
Thank you, Kurt.
I think I just got some relationship advice in there, you know? Kind of the good doctor snuck it in when I was...
Just trying to save your marriage, brother.
Thanks. I appreciate that.